The Fallen banner is here, one of the most hyped banners of the year, and I'm very excited to see who we get. If I had to take a guess, I'm gonna say Engage, but let's find out. Yeah, okay, I was right. It's Veyle. Me and DTM completely called this. Okay, so we have Fellchild's Might. This has Slaying, and then she has a drive damage reduction effect where it's up to 30%. It does not work with AoEs, and then if she initiates combat or if the foe is ranged, she's going to inflict attack and res -6 on the foe, and then an additional penalty on their attack and res based off 20% of her resistance at the start of combat. She'll also get 30% damage reduction against them, once again not AoEs, and she'll get special acceleration. The very interesting thing though is if her resistance is greater than the foe's resistance plus 10, that's a big check, right? That's not an easy check to hit against anything with like a good resistance stat. You do get Brave Attack, so that's a pretty powerful weapon as it is. We also have a new A skill in Crystalline Water. This grants attack and res +8 and inflicts defense -8, so this is like a visible bonus, right? So this is essentially just a better still water, you get more stats, and then also at the start of player phase or enemy phase, you'll neutralize panic and any penalties to units attack and res that takes effect on that unit at that turn. So it's like a nice way of not only being more powerful, but also removing any panic off yourself and some penalties. So like very, very powerful A skill. Not sure why they really power crept Stillwater now, as Stillwater 4 is like a very good skill. It's used on like a ton of units. So maybe they're just trying to find a way to make a little more money here by introducing a better version. We then have attack res tempo 4, just like her base self, but we have her C skill, Veyle's Successor. What this essentially does is if Veyle initiates combat, or if she's within 2 spaces of an ally, she'll inflict attack and res -5 on the foe during combat, and then also if her res is greater than or equal to foe's res +5, and the foe's using an offensive special, she'll get a scowl effect. But if the foe's range equals 2, so if they're a ranged unit, she also does an additional scowl effect right before the foe's first follow-up attack. So this is a way to essentially shut down specials not only on the first hit, like on a pre-charge special, but also on a special that might have got charged on the second hit, right? So that's really, really powerful. It's a way to completely lock a unit out of their special. It's pretty insane. You're also going to get attack res defense +4 to allies within 2 spaces, so a nice little drive effect. And then she'll also give this improved scowl effect as a drive to allies within 2 spaces. And once again, like Mythic Veyle, it'll be based off her resistance stat. When it comes to roles, Veyle is pretty much just a support nuke as she was in her Mythic version. And when it comes to game modes, I do expect to see her quite a bit. I don't expect to see her as much in Ether Rays just because she isn't a Mythic. So that is something to consider. But she is a very powerful support. So if you do run into enemies who you're struggling with because they are getting their specials proc on their second hit, her scowl effect can be very successful there. So it is very likely she will show up on Ether Rays offense. Maybe not on defense. I'm not so sure. We'll have to see how that works out. Definitely Summoner Duels, Veyle already is a pretty good unit there. She's definitely fallen off a little bit, but this effect seems so powerful that I could definitely see her showing up once again, as she overall is a very solid unit. With that said, let's move on to our next unit. Who's next? Why? Why are we getting Fallen Ursula? Bro, this, like, whoever is developing Faye has like an Ursula and like, they have like an Ursula and like Selena like fetish. Like they love those two characters. Like any character who is like partially evil but kind of good and they're a female Cav Tome, like they love them. Oh my god, why does Ursula have so much representation in this game? Like how are we getting Ursula before we get Nergal? Like another Ursula, right? That's crazy. Oh, I see an evil Lloyd. Okay, so we have her preference weapon, Dead Crow Tome. So this has Slaying, and then also for HP's greater than equal to 25% at start of turn, she'll grant special cooldown count -1 to herself, so charging up that special. She'll grant a visible attack and speed +6, and desperation effect to allies and herself within 2 spaces. And then also if her HP is equal to 100% at start of turn, she'll also grant herself an additional special 1 minus cooldown, which means that she'll have a very, very easy time charging those AoE specials, even as a Cav unit. At start of combat, for HP is greater than equal to 25%, she'll get attack and speed +6. She'll also get a bonus to her attack and speed equal to 20% of her visible speed stat at start of combat. She'll get to do true damage equal to 20% of her speed, including with AoEs, and she'll neutralize effects that prevent her fall attacks. So she'll get offensive no fall. And then lastly, if her HP equals 100% at start of combat, she'll get anti-guard as well. This is a very powerful weapon. You know, Cav's been running pretty rampant, especially on like, you know, with all the Pathfinder going around. Dagger has just enabled so many more teams, which are just completely toxic. And so this looks pretty powerful to me. We also have Verge of Death, a new A skill, and this is essentially a new improved version of Life and Death. It's going to grant attack and speed +8 as a visible bonus increase, so it's going to work very well with AoEs. It's also going to inflict defense and resistance -8, which is kind of rough. I'm not sure why Life and Death gets so hard while Stillwater only gets 1 minus stat. but also it will have the same effect where it will neutralize panic, and it will also neutralize any penalties to attack and speed on the unit at start of player phase or enemy phase. This is essentially removing one of the big weaknesses of AoEs, right? If you've played against AoEs in SD, a lot of ways you deal with that is panicking them or debuffing their attack and speed, because it removes so much power from the AoE. So this is obviously going to be a very powerful skill for those AoE units. When it comes to roles, Ursula is essentially just a nuke support as well. She does offer some nice support effects to her allies, which is really good. Being able to grant out the stat bonuses and desperation can definitely let your other nukes hit really hard and be a lot more safe. But her main thing is going to be nuking. Like, her AoE nuking is very, very potent, and as a cav unit, she has very high range, so that's going to be her main role. So when it comes to game modes, I could definitely see her being used in like Aether's defense on like a cav line or something like that, and I'm definitely going to be seeing her in summer duels on those cav live teams that just love to take advantage of Pathfinder. Let's move on to our next unit. Okay. Oh, it's Nergal! Oh, Nergal's finally in the game. After years, Nergal is finally in the game. Holy shit. Why is he a green tome? Why is he a green tome? He should be a colorless or a red tome. Okay, sure, whatever. He's in the game. Nergal's actually in the game. He better not be the demote. I'll be pissed if he's a demote. He better be, like, broken. Okay, he's not a demote. I saw Special Spiral 4. Holy shit. Like, I actually just, like, lost my breath. Okay, so we have Reshkogel. And this has Slang, and then at start of turn, if Nergal's HP is greater than 25%, he'll grant a visible attack +6 to himself and Essence String. He'll give this to himself and all allies within 2 spaces. This is a very, very cool effect, so we're going to talk about it in a second. Let's go through the rest of the weapon. At start of combat, if his HP is greater than 25%, he'll inflict attack and res -6 on the foe during combat. He'll inflict a penalty on foe's attack and resistance equal to 20% of his visible res, so just more stats. He'll get true damage equal to the number of bonus effects active on him times 5. So you can get up to 25 true damage. Does not work with AoEs, but still, that's a lot of true damage. And then also, he'll get flat damage reduction equal to the number of bonus effects active on him times 3. So a max of 15 flat damage reduction. Very, very good. And then also, if a unit's attack can trigger unit special, so if he's using an offensive special, he'll grant himself special jump -X, where X is equal to the number of bonus effects active on Nergal, a max of 3. Now this is where shit gets insane. We have Essence String, and this is something I've been theory crafting for years, and it's actually in the game. After combat, if Nergal has attacked, he'll grant any bonuses effects active on the target and foes within 2 spaces of hit them to himself, and then all allies with Essence String. And he neutralizes those bonuses active on the target and those foes within 2 spaces. And then after combat, if he defeated the foe, he will heal 10 HP to himself and all allies with Essence String. This is fucking insanely cool. I love this. This feels so Nergal. I've been trying to figure out a way to get this kind of effect. I was pretty close to this, but not exactly tied to bonuses. So essentially what this does is makes Nergal like extremely powerful as like a tank nuke support. Like, this makes him so cool. Because essentially what he's going to do is he is going to grant this Essence String effect to all allies within 2 spaces. He'll go into combat. He will destroy somebody, right? Like, he will just annihilate them. He will steal their life essence like he does in the game. He'll get all their bonus effects. He will give all the allies bonus effects. And right, this is a global range, right? This is any ally with the Essence String stats effect. So even if you're like all the way up in the front of the match and your other opponent's way in the back, as long as they have that bonus active, they will get the bonuses as well. Which means like an SD, you could send Nergal in to kill something and then buff your entire team by everything you just stole. Not only that, you even get the healing, which is really, really cool because it's so thematic. This is probably one of the most thematically cool weapons like ever introduced, and I absolutely love this. Oh my god, I wish he was a mythic, to be honest, but like this is really, 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 really cool. Oh my god, I'm so excited. We then have close counter bonus doubler, so this is essentially what we already saw like on Arlen. Not that big of a deal, but is like his optimal A skill probably, so it's very nice to see it just already here, so we don't have to fodder it. He also has Special Spiral 4, which means that he can just cycle big specials very easily while also piercing DR, which is really, really nice because he does have special jump, right? So he can be able to like instantly glacie somebody, hit them extremely hard, take them out, heal, steal all the bonus effects. And then we also have Defense Res Oath 4, which is pretty mid, I'm not gonna lie. It is a way to give him the other visible stats he does want because he already has attack from his weapon, but it's not that big of a deal, right? There's better probably C skills for this in the future. I'll have to figure out what they are, but this is okay. Overall, his weapon is extremely so cool though, I love it. And so when it comes to roles, what is Nergal doing? Nergal is a support tank nuke. He plays all 3 roles and he does it in such an interesting and cool way. And so when it comes to game modes, I think Nergal is going to be just very, very powerful, and I could see it being used in a lot of different game modes. He could be used in Aetherite's offense as like an Omni tank of sorts. In that way, he'll be able to like nuke extremely hard. He can also take hits pretty well because he has the flat damage reduction, and then he can even heal up himself with his own Essence Drain. And at the same time, the cool thing is that after that first combat, he can steal the bonuses from the other like units on the Aetherite's team, which means that they could be way less effective at actually killing him. So that's very, very cool. Aetherite's defense, maybe. I'm not really sure about that one. I'd have to like talk to some people to see what they're thinking, but not completely sold on that one. But in some duels, I could definitely see Nergal being used, as he's just such a cool and unique unit. And if you can get him in there first and he just kills something and steals all the bonus effects, even if he dies afterwards, which he should be pretty tanky, so he might not die even then. Being able to steal all those effects and give them to the rest of your team means that the rest of your team is going to have a very powerful turn after that, and the enemy team is going to be gimped. And so, like, that is a really, really cool effect. I am super excited about this. Also, I was just thinking about it. Special Spiral 4 probably won't be his best speed skill. Probably going to be Lagoose Friend 4. So that's something to think about as well. Just giving him like a ridiculous amount of special jump. So I'm ecstatic. Oh my god, I'm so happy. Who's next? I don't even care who's next. Like, you can't beat Nergal now, right? Unless you're going to drop Athos. But I don't think Athos is going to be on a Fallen banner. Oh my god, this unit's so cool. Oh, I was like so excited for Veyle, for Fallen Veyle. And now I don't care about her at all. Like, just throw her to the side. It's Nergal time. It's Nergal time. Let's go. And the animation is so dope. Oh my god. Look at that. Heals everybody up. Steals all their bonus doubler effects. Even has Canto 1. That's so dope. Okay, so we have a new Rearmed hero. Okay, I wasn't expecting this actually. So let's see who the new Rearmed hero is. What kind of weapon is? Okay. Okay. I'm pissed. I'm not pissed. This is dumb. This is so stupid. I don't know who at Intelligent Systems like has like a, I was gonna say an inappropriate word for Lumera, but Lumera just needs to stop, right? This is the third Lumera we've gotten in 2 years already. She's not the main Lord. She's not the main anything. Like, get her out of here. Why are we getting so many Lumeras? This could have been like Sombron. This could have been like even Alir or something else. Not that I really want Alir, but like, why is she here? Oh my gosh, this is so dumb. This is actually dumb. And she's wearing the same thing. She's just gonna have glowing flames. You know what I think is that they just don't want to make new sprites because they're lazy. And so well, let's use the same sprite 3 times, and this time we'll just add some purple smoke instead of blue. Okay, so we have a new Arcane Dragonstone named Arcane Fellstone. So this is essentially just like the speedy version of like the, you know, rearmed Dragonstone. It's gonna have slang. You're gonna get 25% of the foe's attack as stats, so lots of stats there. Max of 14, which is very nice. You're gonna get 40% brave damage reduction, which is also very good. You're gonna get special acceleration, and then if your speed is greater than foe speed, you'll get full no follow-up, and of course dragon adaptive damage. So overall, this is a pretty nice rearmed weapon, especially if you are a very fast unit. The thing is like, how better is this than what we already had, right? We already had like Arcane Grima, which was very, very nice. Definitely wasn't as focused on speedy units as this one will be. We also had like the inheritable weapon from like the Kanas, which was really good too, which had flat damage reduction in it. So I think this is a nice inheritable weapon for sure, but I'm not sure if it's better than those two. So we'll have to wait and see. We also have Speed Res Scout 4, so that's pretty cool. Just another variant of Scout. I know people were asking for this one because it actually can help a little bit more than attack speed in certain situations, right? So that's very nice to see there as well. We also have another way of getting counter roll 4, so you can stop killing all your Brave Korans. And then we have a new C skill, Corrupted Dragon. Okay, so essentially what this is going to do is like almost exactly the same as base Lumera's C skill, so not very creative here, but essentially what it's going to do is going to put down the Divine Vein Stone effects in the 5 rows, 5 columns, just like base Lumera. You're going to get +4 to all stats to all allies and anti-guard, just like base Lumera. But then also, if there's an ally within 5 rows or 5 columns, then Lumera herself will get +4 to all stats, she'll get anti-guard, and she'll also get damage reduction piercing. So instead of getting damage reduction like in the base or in the Mythic Lumera, you'll get damage reduction piercing. So like, is that really worth it? It's okay. It's definitely, like, you definitely need damage reduction piercing, but I don't think it's like that big of a deal. And honestly, I'm not very excited by this unit. When it comes to roles, what does Lumera do? She is a tank support unit. That's exactly like base Lumera or like Mythic Lumera, so not much of a surprise there. And when it comes to game modes, where will you see her? You could see her as like an Omni tank in Aetherite's offense. But other than that, I'm not really seeing that many places for her. Occasionally, I'll see Lumera in SD, but typically it's not the best place because you do have to use an action to activate her Divine Vein Stones, which means that a lot of times the opponent can just play around it. Overall, I do think this will be a good unit, but I don't think she's really going to be affecting the meta anyway, and overall I find her quite boring in her design, as she's essentially the same thing as Mythic Lumera with just a tiny twist. And then also we have got confirmed that Fallen Lloyd is our GHB unit. I am very excited about this. Lloyd has deserved an ult for a very, very long time, and it's been a million years. And the great part I can say is that he has good art. As you can see right now, his art actually looks good. He doesn't look like a crack addict as much as he used to in his base art. No offense to the artist, but honestly, that art was terrible, and this looks way, way better. So I'm very, very happy to see Lloyd get an ult in the game, but mostly I'm just excited to see Nergal. Okay, let's go to the final part of the video. Should you pull? So when it comes to pros, if these are your favorite units, obviously you should be pulling there. But when it comes to actual units themselves, I do think Mythic Veyle and Nergal are very much standouts in this banner. Mythic Veyle offers some very unique and powerful support, essentially just doubling down on Scowl, which is already extremely good. And so I do think that if you're trying to like play SD competitively, she could be a good choice there. When it comes to Nergal, I think Nergal is just such a unique unit that he's going to have a ton of value, and that the people will figure out how to use him effectively. And I think he does have the potential to be very impressive. When it comes to Ursula, I do think Ursula will be a great nuke for cav lines. So if you're trying to like play cav lines in SD, if that's your thing, or in E3's defense, then she might be worth picking up as well. Honestly, I think Lumera is kind of boring, and I don't really see a place to use her all that much, especially because Mythic Lumera was a mythic unit, and so that's why people are using her. So as a non-mythic, I just don't think she offers that much value. Other than that, there is some great fodder on this banner. The new Life and Death and Stillwater are very optimal, so if you are like a person who wants to have the optimal build, those will be very good for all your AoE units, or for units who like need high visible stats. So that is something to consider as well. And then also if you're trying to get a good skill duplicator for like dragons, or if you just want a new arcane dragonstone, then pulling Lumera is also a good option there. When it comes to cons, we do have the Bridal Banner coming up later in the month. The Bridal Banner tends to be kind of powerful. There used to be like one good unit on it, but that's not necessarily always the case, so that's something to consider. We also have the Legendary Banner at the end of the month with one of the most insane shares ever with Emblem Ike and Emblem Marth, so that is something to consider saving orbs for as well, especially if you don't already have those Emblem rings, or if you're looking for merges. And then lastly, I will say that Choose Your Legends is about 3 months out. I know that's quite a while, but just thinking about it, if you're like a big Choose Your Legends person, this is a good time to start saving orbs, as it will give you about 900 orbs to go into that banner, which means you could probably use like the Quad Spark, which is very cool. With that said, I'd love to hear from you now. What do you think of this banner? Are you as excited as I am that Nergal is finally in the game after 7 years? The main villain of the first Fire Emblem game in the West is finally in the game. I'd love to hear about it, so drop a comment down below. Let me know how you feel. As always, I'd like to thank all my members for their constant support. This has been Oblivion. I'll catch you all later when I'm playing with Nergal.